wild dreams. Wow. I don't have nightmares very often. This was definitely a nightmare, and I couldn't wake up. And I don't have violent dreams very often, but this was a very gory, bloody, violent dream. This one I had in the middle of the night versus most of the dreams I feel like come from the wee hours of the morning. So let's see how much of this one I can remember. Whoa! The dream that I just woke up from, I remember quite a bit of, but this dream that I'm about to record, the details are a bit fuzzy by now. I was in my childhood home. There was also somehow this spaceship. So you went down the hall and there were these metal sliding, very futuristic looking doors. And in that door there was this black blob of stuff that I kind of like X-Files style-y, where this black blob would come into someone and possess their body. So it was me, and I guess this was my house, even though in the dream it wasn't depicted as my house. It looked like my childhood home slash a spaceship. And this had a lot of dream logic, so it's hard to put it into words. But this one is very important for me to record because I had a lot of breakthroughs with lucidity and dream control. I really wanted to be lazy and not record this, but gotta do the work if I want the results. So anyway, so this spaceship house thing, I was having a couple of friends over, I guess. Or, I mean, they were just there. I didn't know them, but I was like, okay, whatever. And then I remember my brother and his wife asked if they could spend the night, and I grudgingly said yes, of course they could. But that meant I had to kind of act differently and just have people in my space, and I didn't want that. So they went to bed early, and I was trying to be quiet so I would not disturb them. And let's see what else happened. How do I get to the meat of this dream? At one point, so there was 3 people that I didn't know. One very cute boy who was, I don't know, just could be Peter Pan in a play, and he was probably, I don't know, in his early 20s, and he had 2 friends with him, and they went into this room, and I suppose they got possessed by this black sludge, and I couldn't get out. They tried to kill me. I'll just condense this into a nutshell, leave out all the weird dream logic stuff. So I'm in a house that's also a spaceship, and my brother and sister-in-law come to spend the night. I am trying to be quiet and respectful of them going to bed early because I think they're, I don't know, like going to the airport or something the next day. So I'm trying very hard to be toned down and quiet, and it's stressing me out a little bit, and I'm a little bit grumpy about it. So these people that I don't know go into this room and apparently turn evil, and they come out and they have these big knives, and they come to kill me. And I become lucid nearly immediately in this dream because I'm like, well, this is really violent. And I decide that I'm gonna maybe change it, or like keep him from stabbing me and slashing and doing all this stuff, but I can't seem to do it, and I get really scared and really stressed out, and I wake up, in real waking life, and I'm like, oh, that's weird, that sucks. So I go back to sleep. I go right back into the dream. And they're like, ha ha ha, you're here again. And I'm like, well, that's fucking creepy. But I had forgotten about the dream. And then I catch up again. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, that's right. I'm here again. And so violence happens again, and there's like blood splatters everywhere. And I think they keep killing each other and stabbing each other, these three people that I don't know. And they're just kind of like laughing about it and being super, super bloody and violent. And they're trying to get to me, and I'm doing my best to keep them away from me with lucid dream powers, but it's not working. And this dream, I could feel everything that was happening, and it was, or at least, so I was afraid of feeling everything that happened, because every time I was hit, I did feel a hit. Not super painful, but enough sensation to really stress me out and really make me scared. And so they would like slice my arm, and I would feel it open. I don't know if you've ever been sliced, but depending on how deep it is, for a second, I mean, there might be a small sting, and then it opens up. There's a pause right before it bleeds a lot, and then the pain comes. So I could feel the opening of the flesh every time they cut me, and it was very stressful. And again, I tried to get out of the dream, and I tried to change the dream, and it wasn't working. And these dream characters were taunting me about this. And so I woke up again in my bed. I was like, geez. Went to the bathroom, pet my cat, back into bed. And this is the first time that I went back to bed and went back into the same dream so many times. I mean, at least 3 times. It was so strange. I just could not get away from this dream. And it got to the point where I was actually a little bit scared to go back to sleep. I was like, geez, maybe I should stay up for a half hour or so to kind of reset myself. But I didn't. I rallied my inner, like, screw you. And I went back to sleep with the intention of letting things happen. Because I figured, well, so I see this dream character wants to cause me pain and wants to get an emotional rise out of me. I've talked before about the inorganic beings, and perhaps that's what this was. It wanted to consume my energy, and getting an extreme emotional response would be the quickest way to get the most intense energy to consume. So I thought, well, what if I just, like, what if I chill? What if I sit down, because I can't control it. I can't make them stop. I've tried with all my mental strength and it didn't happen. What if I just chill? We'll see. So I went back to sleep, and what do you know? I went right back into the dream. So I was kind of nervous. I'm like, what's going to happen? Because my heart was pounding. I wasn't happy about doing this dream work. I was pretty nervous. And I tried to tell them to be quiet, because they started being really loud and they wanted to watch a movie. And the movie was, sorry, I'm getting a call. The movie was really loud, and I don't know. That's another dream logic thing. I'm not even going to go into it. Anyway, so the movie was right next to the bedroom where my brother and sister-in-law were sleeping. And I was like, you guys, we have to be totally quiet by 10. I was thinking, I was lucid at this point. I was thinking, if I perhaps try to verbally give rules to these people in this dream, maybe I can somehow get a grip on a little bit of control. And for a second, I think I did, because the guy looked at me kind of like, okay. And I think he was just confused that I had even done this. So they start being loud again. And then my brother and sister-in-law open the door angrily. And my brother has a shovel in his hand. And they both look at me, like both my brother and my sister-in-law, who's very like demure and would never, she'd hardly even talk. She's quiet as a mouse. But she's both like, she's got this like Mad Max determination look on her face, like we're gonna have some stuff up. And so they go down the hall and go into the room, and I hear this like crunchy wet noises and metal on watermelons sound, and much chaos, and there's lots of noise and then silence. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know who's going to come out alive. And my brother and sister-in-law come out with just covered in blood splatters, very fine mist, and a bloody shovel. And they look at me and they walk back into the bedroom, and they go to sleep. And this happens one more time, but the second time they don't come out of the bedroom. Instead, the bad guys in the dream come out of the bedroom, and they're laughing, and they're going to attack me again. And I start getting scared again, and then I think, screw it. Come at me, bruh. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, I'm not afraid of you. You're in my head. And so he comes at me, and he stabs my back, and this long slice opens up, and I feel it, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty interesting. And I look him in the eyes, and his face is just crestfallen that I am not reacting. I'm just like, yep, you're stabbing me. I can't seem to change the dream. I can't seem to make you go away. So I'm just going to sit here. And then I think I said, like, what are you going to do about it? And then all three of them try to, like, get in my face and say all this stuff and like, stab me and blood everywhere and all this stuff. And I'm just like, being stabbed and all this stuff, and it does kind of hurt, but I'm just chilling. And then I have so much lucidity that the dream eventually dissolves, and it's just this white, like this, it's just this glowing white screen, and then I wake up. Never had a dream like that before. I don't know. This is very interesting. I don't know what to think about it. Yesterday, I think that I had an OBE, an out-of-body experience. I'm doing this thing called a hyperbaric oxygen chamber to treat chronic pain and stuff. And I fell asleep in there. And all of a sudden I had this whooshing feeling. And it happened two times, I think, before. And I had it like that falling back into your body feeling. It would be like this whoosh and nearly simultaneously falling into my body feeling. Whoosh, fall into my body. Whoosh, fall into my body. And the third time it happened, I felt the whoosh coming on, and I began to feel the falling, and instead of getting like excited or curious or my heart pounding, I thought, wait, Liz, just stop and observe it. Hang on before you get excited or scared because of the drop feeling. What's going on? And my eyes were closed. But then all of a sudden, I was able to see the inside of the oxygen chamber in angles that were completely possible for me to see being asleep, or even with my eyes open, laying there. And I stayed there for a moment, very calm and relaxed. I didn't feel my body at all. And then there was like this settling feeling, and I felt the pressure and the confines of physicality, and I was in my body again, and I blinked my eyes open, and then I was, I guess, awake. So did I have an out-of-body experience? Felt like what many people describe as such, but I'm not 100% sure. It was really very, very interesting though. So changing my calmness and just going through with it to explore the sensations changed my ability to stay lucid and also stay in that OBE or whatever it was. Because normally I would, my heart rate would go up and I would either get scared or excited and then knock myself out of lucidity. So I'm trying not to, when I get lucid, I'm just trying to be like, oh, cool, so normal. Oh. And it's working. And then I had another dream in that oxygen chamber that was hilarious. Right after that OBE experience, I had a dream that I don't think I was in. I think I was just witnessing the dream. And there was this 70s style ranch home with all the curtains drawn. So it was daytime, but it was kind of dark inside the house with the light peering through all the curtains. And there was Robin Williams and this tall blonde woman that could have been, I don't know, anywhere from her mid-30s to mid-40s, I suppose. And she had kind of like a Martha Stewart vibe, kind of this professional, take no shit, give no shit, kind of like 80s business power woman feel to it. And then it panned out of the window, the view panned out of the window, and I could see a SWAT team surrounding the house, and you heard the click, 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 click of all these guns cocking and getting ready. And then it's back in the house, and Robin is just kind of like casually leaning against something, and she is leaning against something as well, like this. And a voice comes over a loudspeaker and says, "Release the queen, or we will have to shoot, or we will have to open fire," or something like that. And Robin, without skipping a beat in his comedic style, turns to the woman and goes, "Well, now we're gonna have to decide who's the queen." Ah. And it was hilarious, and she rolls her eyes. And then I woke up because I started laughing so hard. It's so funny. And then in real waking life, later that day, I went with my friend Erica to go out to eat, and we decided to watch Mrs. Doubtfire because I told her about the dream. And then for whatever reason, we decided to watch his movie called The Birdcage. And I had never seen it. I had seen a few clips from it, but I've never actually seen The Birdcage. And it's one of my favorite movies from him now. And it's about drag queens. And he definitely decides who's the queen in that movie. He decides the queen is his lover, and it was amazing. So he decides who the most important person in his life is, who the queen of his life is. So maybe that's what that dream was supposed to be. But it was very odd. I'd never seen that movie. I had no plans of watching it. And also this movie is about to be taken off Amazon Prime on October 31st, which is super tragic. So if you see this before the 31st, go watch The Birdcage. So that was really weird. That was as close to a premonition dream as I think I've gotten. And then the dream that I just woke up from, I was at this forest park with all this old growth, and I was going to camp there with my friend Erica, and I drove my 93 Typhoon down the road until the path ended, and she was setting up camp, and I was going out for some alone time, and I climbed on this log that was over the water, and I started playing my flute. It was wonderful. It feels really good to play an instrument in dreams. This was only the second time I've done that. It was so amazing. And there was a family across the river, and they were listening to me play the flute. And then for some reason, on my side of the river, a herd of goats showed up. So I don't know what goats mean in symbology, in symbolic terms. So I'll have to look that up. I think goats mean like tenacity and perseverance. Like keep on going, not giving up, because they climb impossible cliffs and do stuff like that. So I think goats mean determination. So I'm playing my flute, and I actually fall in the water. And instead of getting mad about it, I laugh. And I'm like, haha, I fell in the water like a goober. And it's cold because it's set in the fall, my dream is. And I swim back to the shore. I get out, kind of cold, and go back into my car, go to the campsite, and Erica and I decide to go on a walk. So we go on this forest walk, and we encounter so many creatures. Oh yes, and I forgot, on my way back to camp to meet up with Erica, I'm already encountering so many creatures. There's this woman that is carrying a freaking lemur in her arms, and it's like on its back, like, I'm a happy lemur. All goofy and stuff. And I didn't want to hassle her because I was thinking, well, carrying around a cute fuzzy lemur, I'm sure everybody wants to touch this thing. So even though I really want to ask if I can touch it, I'm not going to. But she offers it to me, and I was so grateful. She's like, yes, you can pet it. And it was just the softest, most lovely thing, and its little paws they felt like lemur paws. It was so cool. So anyway, after petting the lemur, I go and I get Erica, and then I want to show her where I had been, where the goats were. And we're walking through all these campground pathways, and there's creatures that I've never seen before. At one point, I even grabbed her arm because I was afraid to pass it. There was this weird, fuzzy, like lumpy, obese alligator bear. It was terrifying. It was so terrifying. And I thought, I don't think we should walk by this at all, but it was just laying in the middle of the path, and no one seemed to be bothered by it. So I was like, okay, I guess this is safe. And we just kind of scooch around it and get by. And we see like big lion, tiger, man, bear, pig, cat things. See some of those. We see horses and other goats. There's big dogs, little dogs. There's all kinds of critters. And at one point, we're walking on the path, and then we almost run into this carriage. It's black carriage with this very dapper dressed gentleman with round glasses, and the carriage is drawn by these big foreboding black draft horses. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And they just kind of snort at me, and I think I pet its fuzzy nose, and they look so scary. They look like they are from the underworld. And we're just like, hi. And then the big scary guy is like, and nods, and then just clicks the reins again, and they start off again. And so we're walking down the path, and there's a bench there, and there's this rather tall Abraham Lincoln looking redhead man. And we start talking to him, and he goes, I have a stage at the Oregon Country Fair. You ought to visit me there sometime. And I recognize him, and I become lucid a little bit after he mentions this. And I go, "That's right. You're a magician, aren't you?" And he kind of goes, it seems like he's very flattered at the recognition. And he goes, "Yes, I am." And we talk a little bit. And he decides to join us on our walk, and Erica and I. Oh, and she keeps falling, and we keep laughing about it. But just like um, in the in the movie The Birdcage, one of the characters keeps falling in a very comedic way, and so she keeps doing this, and we're laughing and laughing, but she's getting pretty like bruised and cut up and dirty from falling. And then we're walking along, the three of us, and she falls again, but this is like a pretty hard fall. And she's rolling around laughing, and she's got this big dirt mark and a cut that's starting to bleed right here. And so I fall next to her, and then we like hug each other, and we're rolling around in the dirt laughing hysterically. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" And we're talking and being silly. And then we roll and roll and roll, and then we almost roll into this stream. And she Erica gets up and she goes, "You guys, look at this." She's got really good eyes for spotting bones in the forest, like even better than I do. And I'm always looking out for that stuff. And at the, like right at the waterfall, the rocks creating the waterfall, she takes her toe and she smears the rotting leaves away, and it reveals a giant pig skull. And I go, "Oh, it's a skull!" And I get really excited because I like to make art out of skulls. And she smears away more, and there's a horse skull, and she smears away more, and there's a bear skull, and she smears away more, and there's another skull and another skull. And I'm super excited. And then I go and I look into the upper part of this tiny little creek thing, and there is this roll, like this fabric roll, something that you might keep tools or makeup in or jewelry or something like that. And I collect it, but I'm still holding it underwater. And there's all of these other treasures. There are talismans, there's crystals, there's little bits of antique jewelry, and there's little statues. There's all of these things. It looks like a penny wishing spell for people's spell casting items almost. And as I draw this roll out of the water, but Erica says, "Oh, there's cards falling out of it." And I don't see this for some reason, but she's describing these cards to me. And then this another very tall, kind of steampunk looking older guy walks up, and his eyes go wide, and I can tell he wants to get the treasures. And almost at the same time, but I beat him to it, we go, "Oh, no, you don't. I done seen it first." And then he starts laughing and laughing. He goes, "Oh, you know that movie too." That's a line from one of my favorite movies. And he says, "Well, okay, you beat me to it, so the claim is yours." And I'm collecting all this stuff. Meanwhile, the redhead Abraham Lincoln magician is standing over watching everything, being slightly judgmental. And he walks to the head of the stream, and he gets this piece of note, and he hands it to me, and he goes, "I don't think you're supposed to take anything from here. This person has set up this place." I don't remember what he said. And he has left these things on purpose. So I look up and I think, well, these things are very new here. No algae has grown on them, see? And when the winter waters come, it's going to flush everything out, and these things certainly shouldn't be released into the river. I think they were meant to be taken. And he just looks at me. I guess we agreed to disagree. And I go to the head of this creek, where redhead Abraham Lincoln Magician got the note that I didn't even open, and which is very unlike Dream me at all. I must have been too distracted by the dragon horde, and now I regret it because I can read in dreams, and I'm sure there would have been a great message in there. So at the head of the stream, there is a lock box with a slit on top, ones that you like put cash in. So I think, well, maybe this is a take what you will and leave what you will kind of thing. And I get more convinced of this because I also see heaps of used clothing carefully folded and put in Ziploc bags that look like they're a free pile. And so I gather some of those and I gather the treasures, and then I wake up. And that was it. What a wonderful, wonderful dream adventure I've been having. It's very strange. Well, that's it. I'm really glad that I took the time to record this because that's what is allowing me to be able to be lucid and remember all of my dreams so well, is doing these recordings for myself.